Welcome to the Health Hour at Andy DTV. Today we have a special topic. We're going to be discussing HIV in the African and Caribbean community. But before we start, I would like to let you all know that this show is sponsored by Andy D Legal and Immigration Associates that is based in Stratford. Andy D Legal deals with illegal issues and immigration issues. That is, the office is based here in London in Stratford. And the number to call them is 0203 130 0751. And today we have on the show Vida Boateng. Welcome.
Hey. You have to say the Ashanti way, Vida Boateng.
Boateng.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Congolese, so I don't know how to do the accent. Boateng. So Vida and I, we've known each other for a while. She is a HIV activist and a student nurse. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks.
So tell us, how long have you been doing this campaigning HIV? Like, how long have you been doing it for?
I kind of fell into it, I think from the age of around 16. I'm actually 27 now. Oh, no. I'm 27 now. But when I was 16, I went on my first kind of like charity trip to Ghana, actually, where I'm from originally. And I was working in an orphanage there and like helping a young girl learn to read. She was 21 and she didn't know how to read at all.
Yeah.
And I think from there, that interest in development and just health and community progressed over time. So in between that time, I got involved in other stuff. So I went to Brazil, went to Romania, just doing some work with very kind of like segregated communities. Yeah. And I feel like HIV found me. I didn't find HIV at all.
How? Because it's not something a 16, 17-year-old would really go into and just discuss like HIV. How did HIV find you?
I think like based on like kind of helping quite vulnerable, segregated communities in the past, it kind of led up to that point. Yeah. When I was, how old was I? I think I was like 23 maybe, or 24. I went to South Africa with like the International Citizen Service or
Is that
like
ICS?
That. Yeah.
I've been to ICS too.
Yeah, I went with ICS, and we had, well, for my group anyway, we had the opportunity to go to either Bolivia. I didn't want to go Bolivia only because I went to Brazil and I was like, it's quite similar. Bangladesh and South Africa. So I had the option to pick, but I told them, I want you to pick for me. Wow. I was like, you could take me anywhere, I don't mind. So they picked South Africa for me. I think it's because I was talking a lot about music and I'm quite interested in music. And when I got to South Africa, honestly, as soon as I got to the airport, free condoms, HIV, managed HIV, banners, stigma, everything. The ribbon was everywhere. You just, as soon as I got to the airport, I couldn't escape it at all.
What airport is this?
This was, it's a very long, this was in Durban.
Oh, okay.
Durban. So I went to Durban in South Africa. I didn't go to Johannesburg or like East London. Because you went to East London.
I went to the Eastern Cape. So I was in the rurals, way far from Durban. I was in the city. We weren't allowed to travel all the way to Durban. We were definitely
it was quite urban.
It's too far. Yeah. So you've done community work, and then it kind of helped you move towards the HIV sector. Yeah. And now you're a student nurse. Yeah. So how do you now have used the skills from that? Would you say those skills kind of enabled you to do this to become a student nurse right now? Would you say you needed that experience in order to decide to focus on becoming a student nurse?
Yeah, I think I'm still learning. Okay. I think when you're doing activism and when you're kind of working in the community, you're forever learning, and that's the beauty of it. You can never be perfect. People are always different. Yes, of course. Situations are always different. Countries are always different as well. So you're constantly learning. Once I got back from South Africa, because I was there for about 3.5 months, I actually started an internship straight away, like within 2 days at a HIV support charity in London. And then from there, I got involved in kind of like more kind of campaigning and lobbying with like Youth Stop AIDS, and like just learn like HIV is not just in terms of just health, but also it gets a bit into policy, it also gets a bit into support. So it was interesting doing that. I think over the couple of years, because I was campaigning for 4 years, I realised actually I really like the health dynamic of it, since there's such a lack of kind of like kind of black African Caribbeans within that sector actually supporting people living with HIV, I realised it's important for me to actually to do that.
It is, and as somebody who is also HIV positive, and also an activist, and we know each other. So I was going to say, what is the most ridiculous questions that people ask you, considering that you're so involved in this work, and what is the most ridiculous things that people ask you that you just sometimes think to yourself, really, like, is that really what you think? What are the questions that has come out about HIV?
I will say, once I got really involved with like activism, my social media literally is just like HIV awareness, and I had literally friends and family message me privately on Facebook saying, imagine, "Are you okay? Do you have HIV?" I was just like, "No, I'm just really passionate about it." I would say one of the most ridiculous things I heard was I had a friend like say to me, "So do you actually touch people that have HIV?"
Well,
and I was like, what do you mean? And she goes like, "So do you actually touch like their hands?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, if I need to get something, I'm gonna take it from there." And she was just like, "So do you actually hug people?" And like,
and how old is this person?
This person's the same age as me.
Oh wow!
And that's what gets worrying. Like, I found that younger people are a lot more willing to understand, but I feel like once you kind of climb up, it gets a bit more. You kind of come with your own conclusions about things. So I think it's forever a process in trying to like educate people about HIV. But I get people like, do you sit on the same toilet seat as someone that's got HIV?
It's so sad.
What if like they're talking and they spit at you? Like, are you gonna get HIV? You know, what if like they sneeze? You know, you hear and we can laugh a little bit about it, but it's sad because some people really think this is a thing, and I'm like, HIV is something you just do not know.
You can live with for a very long time. Wow.
And it can affect anyone and everyone. And you know what? If you're taking your ARVs, you're fine. Like,
so with people, obviously, with somebody who was born with it, it's a different experience. And your friend who was asking, she's not positive herself. But what if you get a question asked by somebody who's like newly diagnosed, like they've just been told, let's say 2 months ago, that they're HIV positive? What kind of advice do you give them, considering you've had so much experience of campaigning? What kind of advice can we give somebody who is a newly diagnosed?
I think, particularly, I'm going to speak mainly around the kind of African Caribbean community. It's quite rare for people to be open about their status.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I love you so much, because we just need we need to like
need the
break
conversation,
that stigma, because it's just too much. So I think over time you begin to build people's trust. People need to see that are you actually genuine? Do you actually care about this issue?
So it's a trust that they don't trust you, even though you're a health professional. They don't trust you to tell you or to ask you these questions.
I think it's kind of like people need to feel the warmth of you a bit. You have some people that are really open. They'll tell you the story from day one to now. And then you have some people that they don't want to talk much, kind of do what you need to do and leave me alone. So it's about accommodating to both. You need to give people the space. If they don't want to talk about it, you don't need to push them too much, tell you too much when they don't want to. But also the people that are willing to be open, it's so important to just allow them that space to be free and let you know. Because like I said, I'm always learning from people. So when people are telling me this happens to them, or I can't tell this person because of this, or I'm married and I can't tell my husband this, and it's just like, you just need people that space, because indirectly you're counselling them and you don't even realise it. But just, I have people come up to me and they're like, "You're the only person that knows." I have people that come up to me, it's like, "Yeah, I've told all my children, and you," and that's it. I have people that are just open. So it's kind of like, I meet different people.
Because they're all at different stages as well of understanding their diagnosis.
But I will say that I feel like with the African Caribbean community, we're the least amount when it comes to being open, which is a shame, because particularly in the UK, we're affected greatly by HIV. So it's like, to not talk about it seems a bit bizarre.
That's what I'm saying, like considering like despite the support and the advancement of medication of HIV, and people now take 1 tablet a day, I take 1 tablet a day. Like despite the improvements and despite the policy that we're both activists, so we're campaigning, people still live under fear. Like, why is that? Why is the fear within the African and Caribbean? Sometimes the fear is not even in the hospital. Sometimes it's within our own home. Like, why is that? Why is there so much fear of people living with HIV?
I would say it goes back to the whole trust thing, whether it's not trusting health professionals, and also just the stigma itself. I mean, as Africans, we know we're proud people.
We love to gossip as well. And gossiping.
So I think, like, indirectly, it's almost like people have shame about it. And I think because HIV is so closely associated with sex, it just makes it harder for people to be open about it, because people assume, oh, that means they're sleeping around, or they're just this, and it's like, that's not necessarily the case at all. But I feel for particularly the young people who are living with HIV in the UK, because it just makes it harder for them to kind of spring through life.
Of course.
And I always say, I think Africans are so good when it comes to like talking about health, when it's like diabetes or sickle cell, and they're very important issues, high blood pressure, obesity, but HIV needs to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why, you know, I do what I do, because I just want HIV to be normal, a normal conversation for an African. Like to get tested, it should be normal. To know your status should be normal. And just to have a conversation around education around HIV, it should be normal. It shouldn't be, people shouldn't feel ashamed of it at all. Like,
talking about testing, so it's November. And it's HIV testing week. So people don't know about this. We're thinking that why do we even need a HIV testing where people should just go and test every month? So tell us more about HIV testing week. When is it? What should people do? Because a lot of people don't know there's even a HIV testing month in November. So tell us more about that.
I mean, I think a lot of health-related issues have kind of special days or special weeks, some even months. So HIV have, I think it was mainly, well, in the UK, it's mainly pushed by the Terence Higgins Trust, who are really good actually when it comes to advertising HIV testing. So for this year, it's between the 16th of November to the 22nd. And if you go on their website and things like that, you would like find different like places where you can actually go for community testing. Or if you just want the HIV packs delivered to you, you can get it delivered to your house. So, I mean, different people test in different ways. So I know one way is where they, you get like little kind of clip thing and you put it under your tongue for about 2-3 minutes. I don't think they do that as much anymore.
Not here, no. Maybe like in African countries.
I've had that test done last year.
Really?
In the UK?
Yeah. I didn't think they would.
But I think they've got rid of it now.
Yeah, because it's not
that was the last time I did it.
They do the finger campaign.
Yeah.
So tell us more. Some people don't know. I mean, I just feel like these things are available.
Yeah, definitely. But
people in our community aren't aware of this. They still think I have to go all the way to my doctors and get my blood and then wait a couple of days, and people, they just don't know. But it's the same as going for gonorrhea, chlamydia, you know, all the other STIs, which I guess HIV is a bit different in the sense that there's different ways of contracting HIV. So like, what can we do? What message can we really push out there for our community to get tested? Because you don't see, I went to Congo for the campaign, I didn't see any, like, you know, you had terror kids who do it, they have like a paper, like a message everywhere. In South Africa, like you said, like the community in the UK, what else can we do? And we're both activists to push that message that get tested, you know.
I think it's about education as well.
Yeah.
People don't know, so how can they go to these services? So I think, like I said, THT and other kind of HIV organisations do their best to advertise when they can, particularly around November. I see it on buses. If I'm on a bus, I do see give the finger to HIV. So it's just a way to kind of raise awareness. But I think also it's important for us as activists to just share on social media.
Of course.
There's so much power on social media. And like I said, I had people messaging me personally.
Okay, imagine.
But even if someone doesn't like it or share it, it doesn't mean they haven't seen it. So even in that sense, it might make people think. We don't know what people are doing at the end of the day.
That's true.
You never know. People might be getting tested, but they're just scared to say that they have. So it's just about normalising that conversation around HIV. Yes, it's a serious topic, but also, you know, we can be laid back about it.
But it's about life, really. It's about life, and we want to keep people alive, you know, in this generation.
Especially Africans.
Exactly.
We need to stay alive.
We need to stay alive. We need the generation that they are positive, and, you know, we've done work with young people. We see the fear that they have. It's like, oh, is the person going to accept me? Is this? But because if this message, like you said, that they're out there, we're educating people, you'll see more and more people are going to be like, oh, it's just another thing. And back to campaigning, there's another campaign that Terence Higgins Trust do. It's called Can't Pass It On. And I do love this campaign, but it's not an issue at all, but the issue for those who are receiving, especially in the African community, they just don't believe it. I think it's not true. Can you tell us what is Can't Pass It On, and what's the message we're trying to tell people who are watching, our viewers? What do we mean by Can't Pass It On? So
Can't Pass It On is a big campaign that THT started, which I think is really amazing, because it almost gives that hope, I guess, to people living with HIV, but also people who aren't living with HIV to understand. And it basically means that if your viral load, which is the level of HIV in your system, is suppressed to the point where it's undetectable, if you were to have sexual relations with someone unprotected, you won't be able to pass on the virus to them. And I think to a lot of people that sounds bizarre.
People just don't believe it. It's like, I don't believe you.
And I've even spoken to people who are positive that still don't believe it themselves.
Oh, sad.
And it is sad, because it should be something that empowers them to be open about their status, and also for them to be in relationships with people who aren't positive as well. So I think it's an amazing campaign. And
It's just like, people, like you said, people take the meds, your viral load is suppressed, but because of the fear and also the mental, how to put it, like the mental state the person is in, that they have contracted HIV and they're HIV positive, it's kind of like, whoa, I can't pass on HIV, but I'm still HIV positive. So no one really, no one really cares. And I get that as well for myself. It's like, you tell somebody, you can't pass on, I'm on treatment, you're sharing all of this, like, what, is that true? I've never heard of that. What? No, I don't believe it. Like, someone even told me, oh, that one, she's so pretty. What? She has HIV. No, I don't believe it. So it's just, it's the lack of education and the conversation that we're also having, that to push that message forward, so more and more people are getting tested and more people are aware of the status, because that's what we want.
Maintaining the present at the forefront of a global issue with the desire to help others come to a resolve in personal and business affairs is why Andy D Legal and Immigration Associate was established.
We specialize in overseas British passport applications, bails and temporary admission, deportation and detention cases.
The profound pattern in achieving positive results with fragile cases in immigration, nationality, European Union and human rights law, adoption, marriage, divorce, litigation, and so on, up to date, has been broken, and that is why our client base continues to expand.
We also do representations at the UK border agencies and overseas consulate, human rights law, and settlement and leave to remain applications.
We have the right keys to unlock any case across the spectrum of law, locally in London and across the borders in Ghana, where our other branches are established.
We are located at 44 Broadway, Stratford, E15 1XH. Our telephone number is 0203 1300 751.
When it comes to having an effective evacuation plan for emergencies, how prepared are you? If your company has a large number of employees in a multi-storey building, then the most important factors to consider and manage are how to get everyone out quickly, efficiently and safely. That's where the VertEscape escape chute comes in. It's a vertical escape chute that can be installed to any multi-storey building. In the event of an emergency, employees file out to the pre-installed escape chute storage or deployment container, open the hatch, release the chute and climb into the elasticized vertical chute. Once inside, the evacuee starts moving down the chute, easily using a combination of their hands, arms and feet to adjust the speed of their descent, by applying internal pressure to slow down and releasing pressure to speed up, while their weight is fully supported. Super strong yet lightweight material of the chute also protects the evacuee from fire, whilst still allowing air to freely circulate. Once they reach the ground, the evacuees exit the chute and make their way to safety. As many as 25 employees may be evacuated every minute. The VertEscape escape chute from Escape Chute Systems, an innovation that quite simply saves lives.
Do you want to step out proud and confident? Embrace a jewelry no attention can resist? Ahima Jewelry has fine pieces of rings, pendants, chains, and bracelets inspired by 9 different uplifting Idinkra symbols imbued with culture, love, and positivity. Ahima Jewelry is handmade with the highest quality materials, individually finished and infused with a sense of love and tradition. They are unique and stylish, made in sterling silver and 18 CT plated yellow and rose gold. Ahima Jewelry is your first-stop jewelry shop with worldwide delivery and extra attention on complimentary gift packaging. At Ahima, your jewelry are handmade with love.
Going on to that, I said, you and I have known each other for a long time, and we've been campaigning for a long time now. Can you tell other viewers how we know each other, and why do we continue to campaign? Why campaigning to young people is so important to us?
So we actually met, was it
2016?
Yeah, that was an interesting year.
Yeah.
And I attended the Big Weekend run by Youth Stop AIDS, which are a UK-based kind of like campaign that focuses around like HIV policies and things like that. And I went there. I didn't actually know anyone initially.
I knew.
I just signed up and I was like, let me just go. And then I think we met there. Initially, you said that I wasn't.
No, she wasn't cool.
Oh,
you
like,
need to a bit cold.
That's not even good. But we ended up speaking at some point. We weren't in the same room, but we ended up speaking.
A little bit. Just talking about how we've both went to Restless Developments, we've both campaigned, we've both went to South Africa to volunteer. Yeah. Then that was the connection we had. But then we met again when I was speaking at UCL. And I think that's when we stayed in contact more, and then we continued campaigning. So Vida and I have been to the AIDS conference last year, and we've been speaking to many. It was interestingly great. But yeah, we've spoken at Lewisham Hospital, so we've been campaigning. Yeah. We're trying to push more towards the youth. Yeah. Because we realized that a lot of young Black men and women, not just HIV, they're just unaware about their health. And the health is available, but we don't use it to our own advantage. And we're just trying to get the message out there, especially for HIV. But why young people in particular?
I feel like because young people just don't care. I don't even know how to put it.
It's true.
And it's not their fault, to be honest. Yeah. And I think it's just about bringing that awareness, because I feel like most people don't necessarily care about their health within the African Caribbean community, unless it's kind of like it affects them personally or if it's someone close to them. Yeah. And it's just about breaking that cycle that all health is important. As much as I'm passionate about HIV, I still need to be passionate just as much about other health issues. Yeah. But it's kind of like normalizing. I think I'm focused on HIV more because of just normalizing the language around it. Of course. Because health-wise, we're doing fine, actually. You know, in terms of medication, everything's great. Even being in a country where we have access to free healthcare as well is amazing. Yeah. So even if you are living with HIV, you can get free medications, like based on our health services. So it's like everything is put forward for you to actually live your best life.
Yeah, exactly. You have a choice, there's options for you.
But the kind of disengagement from young people is quite worrying, because it's getting to the point where some people may be living with HIV. And I think Terence Higgins Trust say that, I think it's like 18% of people in the UK don't know that they even have HIV.
Yeah, and young people were like AIDS is the second biggest killer amongst young people globally. That's the second. And I think we're living in a time where this is the highest youth that have ever existed. Yeah, we have the highest number of youth. So if we don't take our health seriously, that's a problem. It's not even like, oh, here's an option, here's this, but if we actually don't, it's a global issue, it's a global problem. And I think that's the message. But unfortunately, in social media, all you see is nice pictures, nice videos, nice this. So to break that barrier, that social media is not just to put a nice picture, nice this, and to get people to discuss about health. And I think that's our biggest problem, because we don't get young people to engage with us, even though we're like, guys, you know, we were in Amsterdam, we're in this place, we're in this, and they'll just watch it. But so, is there any other ways that we can get young people to engage with us? Have you ever found, because you've been campaigning, is there ways that we can get them to engage? Yes, social media, but what kind of language? I think that's important. What kind of languages can we use to get them in this conversation? Health, not just HIV, like in this health conversation.
I think it's just mainly about pushing the positive aspects of health. Because I think when people hear like AIDS or like HIV or sickle cell, it's kind of very like, you know, that soppy,
so dark,
that music, violin music. But it's like, I think it's about focusing on the life of it rather than on the actual kind of illness or chronic condition that someone has. But also addressing the realities as well. Because I think it's all nice to say, we can live well and stuff like that. But if people don't even understand what it is, then you can't even speak about the benefits and just kind of like the positivity around it. So it's just about making people understand that there's two parts to the story. It may start out not great, but it always has a good ending if you take your medications, if you do the certain things in order to want to live. But also we've got an issue in the community where some people just don't want to live. I mean, I've met people where they found out about their status and they're just refusing to take any form of medication.
Exactly,
And do you know what? Like, we need to support these people. So it's not even the focus of the meds itself. There's something mentally that we need to really address.
Of course.
So it's just getting people to understand that, especially around like things around HIV. It's not that simple where it's just about taking medications. You need to really break self-stigma that someone carries, stigma that they're going to face from their community, and just empower them, counsel them in order for them to actually grow and feel like
I was going to say, we went to the AIDS conference and we saw a lot of Africans from African countries. So South Africa, we saw one like organized from Nigeria, but we didn't see many Caribbeans. And I think, I don't know, I don't want to go into the issue of slavery, all that kind of stuff, but there's always sometimes that barrier between Africans and Caribbeans, especially in this conversation we're having. And this is a Ghanaian TV show. But what other ways can we do? Because I feel like sometimes the Caribbeans are like, they're on their own corner, and then we the Africans, we're on the corner. But when the issue is actually all of us together, because when you said we are the ones that are not getting tested, it includes the Caribbeans and the Africans. So we actually need to come together and have these conversations together in one platform. So I don't know how, when, but through this campaign that we do, engaging, because sometimes people think HIV is an African thing. Like the people that are affected are people from Africa. You know, you see images of people dying or looking like that. So how do we engage with the Caribbean communities? Because I have to be very honest with you. My Caribbean friends, I've never ever heard them talk about health or campaigning or activism at all. Like, why is there such a, as the word used, disengagement between African health and Caribbean health? Why is there such a big, we just don't come together?
I wouldn't say that there's a disagreement in terms of like us as people. But maybe, I don't know, that's an interesting question.
Because there's differences in a sense that perhaps they've lived here. Like, for example, even a conversation like being Black British, being this British, they've lived here a long time. And for example, someone like me, I came from Africa and I came here, and most of my friends are Africans. And I don't know, because if we really try to bringing this conversation about HIV from all different communities. I mean, within the African and Afro communities. Let's give an example. Go to Brixton, go to Peckham, go to the places where these people are. And I think that way, it will bring a lot of people in this conversation so that we're actually pushing more the Afro and Caribbean community. Now they're actually getting tested, because why we've actually gone to these communities and actually address the issues. And you have somebody who's not positive, is passionate about it. You have somebody who is, and seeing that image, it gives people that, you know, that balance and everything else. But so how are you finding your days being a student? Is it any different to campaigning? How is it different to campaigning? Now you have to kind of take a break. I'm sure you've taken a break, but how's it different to now to campaigning?
I mean, I wouldn't say I've taken a break. I feel like I've been a lot more quiet on social media, but that's only because
students.
Being a student is a bit like, oh, I got work to do. But I feel like I can't ever take a break fully. And obviously it relates so much to what I'm getting into because I want to qualify to be a nurse. So it's kind of like, I can't forget about activism. I'm actually getting quite involved with a few organisations kind of around actually HIV testing and, you know, not just working around support, but also kind of trying to get into testing and being more on the groundwork with things. So yeah, we're going to see a few things in the next couple of months.
We know that
just
one
follow me.
Just
follow me and we will see what I'll be up to. But I don't think I'll ever take a break. I mean, even just having normal conversations with friends, you know, you can always, people always want to bring up like kind of celebrity gossip and things like that. And that's fine, but I always try to find a way to kind of drop in health when I can, because it's important just to have just normal conversation around it. It doesn't have to always be so serious. Like we can
That's true. That's
talk.
very true. What's the last message or one of the messages you'd like to tell people that are watching, specifically Ghanaian community on HIV? You can speak into it as well, even though I understand. Even though I understand. But just so that we can get this particular community to really hold on to the message.
I will say, particularly for Ghana, I think this year or maybe last year, the rates of HIV actually started to increase slightly. So clearly, it's a conversation that needs to happen, because why are rates increasing? Are we not, is education around HIV not as sustainable? Like, what's going on with that? And also, there's a few organisations out there that are doing amazing work around HIV testing. There's an organisation, if people want to have a look online, called Action Plus Foundation, and the guy that runs it is actually Apostle, and he's doing amazing work in Ghana. He's doing HIV testing in churches, and I think that's just, even that in itself, like HIV in the church is a conversation for another day. But like, there are people out there that are really pushing to break stigma, to engage with testing, and also there's organisations in Ghana. There's an amazing orphanage that I would go and visit and do work around with, Motherly Love Foundation in Accra, and they look after kids who are living with HIV, and honestly, the kids there just give me life. They are like, they just make me happy to be alive. When you meet people who just make the best out of situations, and I'll just encourage people from the Ghanaian community to make sure you know your status. If you don't get tested, go online, type in HIV testing. There's always community testings being made available. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you can always get a testing kit sent to your house and delivered, free postage away. No one will know it's you. So I just think it's up to you as an individual. We have all these services available to us for free, and we should make the most of it, particularly if you're a Ghanaian living in the UK. And if you're a Ghanaian that's not in the UK, like I said, Action Plus Foundation are doing amazing work with people. Speak to your local hospital, to your local clinic, and we can make a difference and bring our rates back down. Come on,
That's what we want. That's what we want. We want everyone to stay alive and bring those rates down.
But I'll be in Ghana soon, and like I said, just follow me. And
where can they follow you? So you keep saying, I don't want to follow you around your house.
Well, my social media is private, but you can add me on Instagram at Vida Boateng. I'm on Facebook as well. It's the same name, Vida Boateng. So if you type that in, you'll find me.
Yes, and we're also on YouTube, guys. So we'll keep you updated.
We are.
Everything else that we're doing.
Myself and Horcelie are going to be doing some stuff together. So
thank you so much for coming, for joining us. I really appreciate this. And thank you so much for watching. And I would like to give another message to all of you guys that are watching. Just like Vida said, get tested. HIV testing week or month, we can say, it begins in November the 16th. And the message is clear. Get tested, stay safe, know your status, know also your partner's status. And that's really a simple, clear message. And also, I would like to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Ahima Jewelry. They have their own website. It's www.ahima.co.uk. And if you'd like to give them a call, it's 0208 492 7724. And the Ghanaian number is 0544 798 678. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you all soon.